If you want to be able to build rapport with others quickly, then you need to learn how to improve your communication skills. And it's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I want to share with you the exact same process that I've used to convey my ideas effectively and have more effortless interactions with whoever I talk to. My name is Mike Macapinlac. I help STEM professionals improve their social confidence. If you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every single week. Figuring out how to improve your communication skills will help you thrive in every area of your life. You'll be able to get promoted faster at work, get more quality dates, and turn strangers into friends very quickly. That being said, here are 15 actionable tips that you can implement right away. All right, let's get into it. Tip number 1 is to be genuinely interested. Have you ever talked to someone who you know isn't fully paying attention to you? It's annoying, isn't it? If you want to come across as someone memorable, remember to be present during your interactions. Give whoever you're with your full and undivided attention. The best way to do this is to view yourself as a student and approach every interaction eager to learn something new. That will make whoever you talk to feel important, and you're going to stand out in a good way. When you show people that you're genuinely interested in them, they will be interested in you as well. As a result, you'll be able to make more meaningful connections with others much faster. Tip number 2 is to speak with certainty. It's hard to sound intelligent when you use a lot of filler words when you speak. That's why you have to make a conscious effort to avoid using like, and you know in your conversations. Otherwise, whoever is listening to you will find it hard to focus on what you're saying. This usually happens when you're nervous or when you're not sure how to respond to something. I see this a lot with our clients in our social skills coaching program simply because they don't have a lot of experience socializing in general. Not to mention, very few of them have received proper feedback when they communicate with others. If this sounds like you, fixing this is really simple. All you have to do is think of the most common topics that come up in conversation in your day-to-day life, and then prepare your stories ahead of time. If you want to know how to never run out of things to say, this is one of the best ways to do it. Preparing your stories in advance will help you feel more at ease in any social situation as well. I know it's tedious, but if you want to figure out how to be more talkative and less quiet, then make sure you actually do this. Tip number 3 is to pay attention to your surroundings. Making small talk for introverts can be painful. But if you want to know how to improve your communication skills, then this is something that you need to learn as well. At the end of the day, you have to be able to exchange polite pleasantries with strangers in order to connect with them. To help you come up with something to say very quickly, pay attention to what's happening around you. Use your environment or the situation that you're in to think of something that you can discuss. For example, if you just met someone at a conference, get them to tell you how they heard about the event. If you're in line to pay for your groceries, you can ask the person in front of you what they're making for dinner. You can also try to get a recommendation from the bartender for a good drink if you're sitting in a lounge at a restaurant. Do you see how that works? The key here is to stop overthinking, avoid filtering yourself, and just say the first thing that comes to mind. As you can see, making small talk doesn't have to be complicated if you don't make it. Tip number 4 is to appear more friendly. Would you want to interact with someone who's slouching, has their arms crossed, and has a frown on their face? Probably not, right? If you ask me, someone who looks like that seems like they're in a bad mood and doesn't look very inviting. That's why you have to pay attention to your body language as well. Remember, it's not just what you say, but how you say it matters too. To fix this, make sure you stand up straight and put your arms to your side. Remember to maintain proper eye contact and have a genuine smile on your face. Since your mind and body are connected, improving your body language will elevate your mood as well, which is a nice added bonus. Tip number 5 is to be aware of trending topics. If you want to learn how to improve your communication skills, staying up to date with current events can definitely help you. When you're in the know, it'll be easier for you to relate to people because you have something relevant to say. That being said, I recommend you bookmark trustworthy websites and follow their social media accounts to be aware of trending topics. Remember to check them out quickly before you go to any social gathering so the information is top of mind. When you know you have something valuable to contribute in any interaction, you're a lot more likely to approach strangers and start a conversation with them. As a result, you'll be able to make the most out of any event that you attend. Tip number 6 is to always learn new things. Remember, a boring life leads to boring conversations. That's why if all you do is go to work, go home, and play video games, then something needs to change. If you want to know how to not be boring to talk to, then you need to do interesting things. Personally, I try to read a new book every couple of weeks. I've also been taking up singing lessons, and I've been spending more time in nature, which are both new activities for me. As the saying goes, variety is the spice of life. Having a routine is great, but don't be afraid to break it every now and then. By acquiring more knowledge and having unique experiences, you'll expand your perspective and you'll make yourself more open-minded. You'll be able to connect with different people a lot easier simply because you have more things to talk about. Tip number 7 is to remember people's names. How awesome does it feel when someone uses your name in conversation? I know for me, as soon as someone says my name, that person has my immediate attention. Because I feel acknowledged, I immediately see them in a more favorable light. That's why I make it a point to use someone's name when I'm talking to them. Doing this transformed the quality of my conversations almost instantly. It made whoever I was talking to feel really valued. If you're not doing this right now, I suggest you implement this right away. And sometimes, you'll run into situations where you might forget someone's name. If that's the case, I have a little tip for you. When you introduce yourself to someone, say their name out loud and spell it out in your head. Mention it frequently in conversation and associate it with something or someone that you know. The reason why this works is because your brain recalls images much better. If you can tie in a name with a picture that's familiar to you, you increase the chances of remembering it. If you forget, just apologize and ask for their name again. It's not that big of a deal, and at least you're being honest. Tip number 8 is to slow down when talking. People who don't have a lot of experience socializing feel nervous when they talk to others. Because they want to avoid awkward silences during their conversations, they end up speaking way too fast. If this sounds like you need to slow down when talking. In order to figure out how to improve your communication skills, pay attention to your delivery as well. Act as if you have all the time in the world and that what you have to say is important. Not to mention, it's normal to have quiet moments during your conversations. You don't need to rush yourself when you speak. Let what the other person said sink in and avoid being so quick to respond when they're done talking. If necessary, take a moment to reflect before saying something. By doing so, you'll come across as more confident and articulate when you interact with others. Tip number 9 is to make intelligent guesses. At the end of the day, we're all inherently selfish. People are interested in themselves, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you want to know how to improve your communication skills, point out unique details that you notice in others. You can do this by giving specific compliments and making intelligent guesses. For example, let's say you're talking to someone who's well-dressed and you want to find out what they do for a living. Instead of just asking what they do for work, you can say something nice about their outfit and inquire if they do anything creative. Do you see how that works? If you get it right, they'll be very impressed. If you don't, they'll tell you what they do and they'll ask you what made you think they're creative. Remember, people love learning about themselves. Whenever you can, try to make intelligent guesses when you talk to others instead of just asking questions. Tip number 10 is to look for things in common. Remember, we like people who are similar to us. If you're wondering how to improve your communication skills, make an effort to find mutual interest right away. You can do that by relating to others either logically or emotionally. For example, let's say the person you're talking to works in the same industry as you. That's an obvious commonality, so definitely take advantage of that. On the other hand, what do you do if an unfamiliar topic comes up? This is where most people who struggle socially get stuck. If that's the case, then try to relate emotionally. You can do this by going deeper and finding out their motivation for doing what they do. Encourage the person you're chatting with to open up more. Pay close attention to what they're saying and share something that made you feel the same way as well. At the end of the day, we all have similar feelings that got brought up through different activities. Keep that in mind the next time you're trying to connect with someone who may do something different than you. Tip number 11 is to avoid getting into an argument. Getting into an argument is a quick way to end any interaction. That's why you want to avoid bringing up touchy subjects like religion, politics, and race, especially early on during the conversation. You don't want to get into a heated debate about something controversial to see whose point of view is right or wrong. If you want to figure out how to improve your communication skills, you have to be empathetic. Make an effort to see every situation from other people's perspectives. And just because you don't agree on something doesn't make people wrong. Not everybody will share your views and opinions, and that's totally okay. Respect the differences and just agree to disagree. Again, if you want to know how to be more likable, stay away from sensitive topics at all costs. Tip number 12 is to ask more open-ended questions. The quality of your questions will determine the quality of your interactions. If you've been in situations before where your conversations felt like an interview, then there's a good chance you were asking close-ended questions. These are questions that can be answered with one word. If you want to know how to improve your communication skills, I suggest you ask more open-ended questions instead. For example, instead of asking, "Do you like your job?" you can ask, "What do you like most about your job?" Do you see the difference? The first question can be answered with a yes or no, while a second one requires more of an explanation. Doing so encourages the person you're chatting with to elaborate on their response. The more information you have to work with, the easier it'll be for you to know how to keep a conversation going. Tip number 13 is to learn to be funny. When you have a good sense of humor, you can lighten up the mood in any social setting. As a result, you'll raise your status in any group because people will feel good when they're in your company. Remember, the element of surprise is a big part of figuring out how to make people laugh. If you want to know how to be witty, Try to make correlations with subjects that are seemingly unrelated. To help you get started, what you'll want to do is to observe the things around you. And then ask yourself what else it reminds you of. By doing this, you train yourself to use your imagination more, which will help you think creatively. You can also take the time to watch more comedy shows. When you find something hilarious, ask yourself why. Just like any skill, learning how to be funny is something that you can develop as well. You just need to put some effort into it and practice as much as you can. Tip number 14 is to put the spotlight on others. Working hard to reach your goals is definitely something you should be proud of. However, talking too much about your accomplishments can be a form of overcompensation. Whenever you brag, it sub-communicates to others that you don't feel good enough as you are. Trust me, I've met those people and I do my best to avoid interacting with them. If you want to deepen your connection when talking to someone, make sure there's an equal amount of sharing and relating. Put the spotlight on others and let them shine as well. A good rule of thumb is to remember at least 5 interesting facts about the person you just met when you leave the conversation. If not, then you've talked about yourself way too much. Tip number 15 is to keep practicing. Learning how to improve your communication skills will not happen overnight. Remember, everything worthwhile takes time, so be patient with yourself. My recommendation is for you to just focus on the process instead of being so attached to the outcome. In order to build social confidence, practice talking to people in easier settings first. Put your reps in and make an effort to have interactions regularly throughout your day. For example, you can ask how the barista is doing when you get your coffee. Have a casual conversation with the person you share the elevator with. Feel free to chit chat with the cashier the next time you buy your groceries. By taking small and consistent action, you'll gain a lot of positive reference experiences over time. You'll prove to yourself that talking to strangers isn't so bad and that it's actually enjoyable to do so. But if you want to get results much faster, consider working with a social skills coach. Not only will you have a proven plan to follow, you'll also have someone give you feedback and keep you accountable. That way, there will be no more guesswork and you'll improve much faster. If you're shy and technically skilled and you want to know how to approach and talk to anybody, remember to download your free social confidence cheat sheet. The link is in the description below. If you're tired of struggling socially and you want to learn more about our social skills coaching program, book your free consultation today and let's connect. The link is in the description below as well. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who you know who could benefit from it. And now, let's turn it to you. Which one of these steps are you going to implement first? Are you going to work on speaking with certainty or on paying attention to your environment? Leave me a comment below and let me know. All right, that's it for me for now, and I'll see you in the next video.